22-year-old Naval Officer Jovin Lim is split between the food paradise of Singapore, his birthplace, and Texas, where he spent a large part of his teenage years. So I heard that you grew up in Texas. When did you come back to Singapore?
Well, that's correct. I went to Texas when I was 8 years old for my father's training. He's in the RSAF, just recently retired. So I went there when I was 8, so I've been there for 13 years, finished my university studies, and I came back to fulfill my national service obligations because I want to be a Singaporean citizen, do my part for the country.
Okay, so when did you come back? Recently?
I just came back in January 2007. Yes, the beginning of my enlistment.
Okay, so was it difficult to readjust? And
It is quite a culture shock, and on top of that, the weather too. I came from a very cold Texas winter, and I came into a Singaporean summer. But I've adjusted quite well. I mean, the sweating's still there, still get my sweat spots.
Okay.
But other than that, I think I've adjusted fairly well back to my Singaporean roots.
Okay, so where is home for you?
Well, home is a definition for me. Texas holds a place in my heart, too. I grew up for 13 years. Most of my friends, my family, all my memories are of Christmas, Thanksgiving, are all American memories. But coming back here, there's a sentimental belonging here. Because I grew up here, I spent most of my developmental years here. So my primary school was here. So I feel that there's two homes for me, to be honest with you. Texas and Singapore. Because it's hard to say.
Okay. Was there anything that you really missed about Singapore when you went to Texas?
The food. I can just say it. Basically, as any cliche answer, as any tourist would say, the food is what brings people back home. I mean, the laksa, the nasi lemak, the curry fish head. I mean, you cannot find it anywhere else, and it's terrific being back here.
You've been picking out.
Oh, you know it. I mean, prior to the competition, I was trying to cut down a little bit on that coconut milk and stuff. But yeah, I've been picking out for the last year and a half, so it's been good. I'm glad to say I haven't missed out on any major hawker centers here yet.
I'm sure. Okay, now when you introduce yourself to people back in Texas, and you tell them that you're from Singapore,
yes.
What's their reaction like? Do they ask, where's Singapore still?
Oh, I'll tell you what. When I was in elementary school and middle school, and they would say, I was telling them I'm from Singapore, and they'll go, is that somewhere in China? And of course, you just have to shake your head, give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to grow out of it. But, as you go on university, they have a sort of respect for Singapore because they know it's one of the 4 tigers in the East. So other than that, it's only when you're younger then people have a little bit of difficulty locating where Singapore is. But now, not so much anymore.
Educating them about Singapore.
I've been telling them to get their butts over here. Getting some of that good Singaporean grub and telling them about the culture. Singapore has been used very often as a case study, especially in most of my economics classes, as a case study for how a country with limited resources can be such accelerated growth in the last few years. And it's just been really nice to see my country finally getting the recognition it deserves. And I'm just proud to be an ambassador for it, showing, especially going overseas for studies. Yeah.
Now, if you win Mr. Singapore, now you're in this competition to win, yeah?
Of course, no doubt.
Now, if you could be tourist ambassador for your area is Woodlands, right?
Correct, that's correct.
Okay, now, where would you bring your group of visitors to, and what would you do in the Woodlands area?
Oh, no problem. Like I said, in any estate, there's always a certain point. Of course, our gathering point in Woodlands is our Causeway Point. It's lots of renovations underway, I'm proud to say.
And the Burger King area?
Yes, correct. The Burger King area and that nice outscape out there where everyone likes to hang out. But it's happening, it's fun, and there's also the Pasar Malam nearby.
Okay, so the Burger King area is a meeting place.
Correct,
so
yes.
Where do you go from there?
Where do you go from there? Well, I guess you walk around inside for a little bit, get some of the air conditioning and the heat. Okay. Then after that, you can go for some of the specialties around the area. If you're a local, you should know where to go. And after that...
Hey, you're the tourist guy. Where are you going to bring your visitors to?
Well, I would take them for some curry fish head to a certain spot. I'm not sure about the address, unfortunately, but I'll take them there personally myself, and get some zi next door. And, of course, finish off with a nice bowl of chendol from a special auntie that I know, and a frequent customer there in the Woodlands area, yes. And so come out with me. Hard to give you addresses. I'm mostly on the foot kind of guy, so take you there personally.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Woodlands, and all the best.
No, thank you, Eva. Thank you.
Up next, we meet a contestant who's a qualified scientist and a sportsman.